Hi vintage PC fans, today I have a day off and I was looking around if I could build another retro PC with the parts I have laying around, and I found this one. It's not the actual box of the mainboard we are using, but this is it. It comes with a nice USB bracket with some diagnostic lights. This is really cool. The I/O shield, a manual. We will install a KT3 Ultra 2. This is a socket A or socket 462 mainboard by MSI. I haven't tested this yet, but we will. Let's see if it works. It's a standard socket A board with the socket A slot. The KT333 chipset. This is not one of the first socket A chipsets, but a later one. I guess it's second generation. It supports 100 and 133 FSB double data, so make this 200 and 266. 3 DDR slots, they can take up to 3 GB of RAM, 3x1. We got some PCI slots and even an AMR or CNR, whatever there were the connectors for the either modems or small audio cards. They are not interesting, I've never used them. The board is a standard board from the early 2000s with the obvious 2 PS2 slots, 2 USBs soldered onto the board, plus the bracket and additional ones, 2 serial ports, a parallel port, and an integrated audio. We will use some Apacer RAM. Why? Because they are CL2. So they are a bit faster RAM than the usual CL3 that you find everywhere. I have lots of CL3 RAM, but not that much of CL2, and I got a pair of them. Installing in pairs is always cool. Usually there is no problem if you mix up RAMs, even if you mix CL2 and CL3 RAM. But you have to set them to the lowest compatible setting. CL2 and CL3 mixed would be CL3. The lower the CL, the better. At the time there were only CL2 and CL3 RAM available anyway, mostly for the consumers. I wonder if the battery still works. We will see that. What we are also gonna install is a Amd Athlon Processor, a classic socket A processor. This one already has the 133 FSB, so it runs with 7 times or 7.5 times 133 megahertz FSB. Was that? No, 9 times. The clock multiplier is 9 times 133 and a voltage of 1.75. This is important as we either have to set it on the board or in the BIOS. Usually those modern boards already have a BIOS that auto-detects voltage, etc. We need to cool it, so we are using this old fellow. It's a Chrome Orb. Pretty common and yeah, medium range cooler at the time. It's not that bad, but it's loud. It makes a lot of noise. Besides some DVD that we are using, I will use either this Western Digital 40 gig drive, but I have Windows installed on it, so I will first try out another drive, Seagate 80 gigs. It's a 7200 RPM disk. It should be a fast one. It's also very narrow, so it has less platters, and for the higher gigabytes storage space compared to the Western Digital. So this should be a really faster disk. I or someone else marked OK on it, so it should work. No guarantee. We will see. As I'm trying to build the year 2000, 2001 and let's say 2002 PC, we also need a sound card of the time. This is Sound Blaster Live, one that has been sold it has been sold in many PCs. Creative Labs CT4830. It comes with a bracket for digital out and MIDI out, and MIDI in even, and SPDIF in, and some digital connector. I don't know what this one was used for, but it's a really common sound card for the time. We also need a graphics card, so this morning I got this one. It's a Voodoo 5. We will see if it works, because the guy I got it from couldn't test it because his PC was dead. His old PC was dead, and he's not an old PC collector, so he gave me this one. He sold me this one. You don't just give away Voodoo 5s. The first thing to do is plug in the USB header. This is not important, but this is the diagnostic LED connector. It connects to this corner and will be important to see what's going wrong when the system hangs on start. As I don't know if the board works or if the CPU works. Okay, I bought it just a few days ago. Or if my RAM has a problem, the graphics card has a problem. It will light up. It has 4 digits, and they start all red, and on the different stages they turn green in the different orders. Even the manual tells us what the codes mean. Then, have we got some settings? Yes, we got some setting there. CPU frequency. We need 133, so 133 MHz. Both switches 1 and 2 should be in position 1, 2. Now the search begins. Where are those switches? It should be a double switch. The only one I can find is this one here. It says switch 1, switch 2, but there are no pin headers soldered on, so I guess it will be an auto detection. Switch 1, switch 2, jumper 1, GSQ 1. It might be the first switch here, the green one. That's the first switch, switch 1. And we can try to set it to position, yeah, it's already in position 1, 2, so we can leave it. This should be alright. Let's install some RAM. First and second DIMM slot. Where's the first one? Next to the CPU. At the time you didn't have problems installing coolers, usually, because the coolers were already were still pretty small, and there were no capacitors in the way. Click, click. Oh, we can see here that There are some capacitors here that could be a problem later on. I don't know. No. Let's install the CPU. Lift the bracket. The flat corner always goes to the corner where the CPU bracket is, and of course you can check the pins. There's a pin missing in the corner, there's a pin missing in the corner, and on the boards you will see the positions where the pin is also missing. It falls in without a problem, that's what we want. Bracket down. Now, before installing the chrome op, we need to apply some thermal paste. Never use these old socket A CPUs without thermal paste or without a cooler. They will instantly burn down. I already killed at least 3 of them. At the time, when I had no money. It was not cool. This one cost me €6. At the time they were a bit more expensive. Okay, not too much, not too much. Well, that's already a lot. Those dies were really small. I will use a screwdriver. If you don't have experience, don't use a screwdriver, or be really careful. It's a bit too much. I will remove some. This is enough. So now we can install the chrome op. Which way do we install it? That's easy. We have a bracket right next to this plate, and we have a bracket a bit farther off. The bracket a bit farther off goes where the socket is. Always go there first. And we see we have a problem. Those capacitors are in our way. That's really shit. Okay, we can get past it. Okay, lucky. Yeah, even at the time you didn't have that big coolers, but yeah, those big capacitors are really in a bad position. They could have moved all these parts some millimeters down to easy up this whole thing. Tick. Fix it up. Do not forget to pull in the fan. Tick. Okie dokie. I won't test the Voodoo 5 directly. I will first use the good old Matrox card, a PCI card. I know this one works because I used it in a video before. As always, make sure you jumper the half drive to the master slot. I left the DVD drive at cable select because so I can use it without a drive, or with a drive it will probably work. Most of the time this will work. In a ready to go system I mainly correctly jumper the drives. It's just better. Okay, I took the wrong ribbon cable. This one goes there. And the IDE slot, the first one is the one in the middle. Keyboard, mouse, so keyboard, mouse, VGA cable, VGA card is in, RAM is sitting correctly in, the cooler works, drives are in, drives have power. We can plug in the ATX power supply and we'll try to fire it up. Let's see what the bracket says. Ah yeah, how to power it up. Yeah, we need the correct pins shortened. We'll take our marvelous power button. And see where the power button goes into. So let's see. Athlon Processor 1200 MHz, that's nice. It detected all RAM, 524K, so that's 512 max. The clock is set right. Oh, the cache latency is 2.5, we can lower this one. Power ID channel on, no 80 conductor cable installed, yes. As this is a more modern drive, we can use an 80 conductor cable instead of a 40, the classic one, to get some more speed, because this one is an ultra DMA mode drive and it's capable of faster speeds with the correct cable. We will fix this. Let's see what the setup says. Is my keyboard working? It should. Ah, go setup, it's loading. Oh, the battery is still working. $15.15. Primary master, okay. This one is our CD drive. Make sure you have the fast modes on. If you don't have a drive installed in the secondary slot, just use not installed. It will save some time at the boot up. I don't have a floppy drive installed. Quick boot enabled. Full screen logo disabled. That's nice. The boot sequence, first drive, will be, yeah, that's okay. I will install a floppy drive and then install Windows 98, I guess. So I will power this down, connect the GoTech drive or floppy drive and install Windows 98. So if you can see, I installed a Sound Blaster and a random Realtek network card and the Voodoo 5. And it's running. Nice. Always happy when something works out. The BIOS is really cool. I set the clock speed of the Athlon 1200 already to 1333 by just adjusting the multiplier. Instead of 9 times, it's now 10 times. 133 FSP. Just change the CPU ratio, the multiplier, because this CPU is unlocked. You can set the multiplier you want. voltage, leave these to auto because I don't know at what voltage those APIs RAM work. The vCore 175. That's the standard vCore. If your computer is unstable, you can raise it slightly and see if this improves stability, if you have overclocked it. If not, leave it at the default, or even try to underclock and see if it remains stable. I have not installed a floppy drive, so I will remove the floppy disk again, and I hope that my CD, my Windows CD, is bootable. There it is, Voodoo 5500. Smart status is capable and status bad. Okay, the drive is bad. I hope it will work. But let's first install a 80-pin cable. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's not happy. So I installed a new ATA cable, and surprise, as I forgot to tell the PC to boot from the DVD drive, it booted from the hard drive, and there wasn't Windows XP installed. But it update, oh yeah, German. I understand German, but this is really weird. Praxis. Okay. Update, whatever. Is it loading? Password. You either have to override it or... yeah. We just reinstall the whole thing. After installing the floppy drive, we still have to boot again to be able to choose the floppy drive in the boot sequence. I will use S-disk or Super F-disk to quickly partition and format the hard disk. It could take a long time with the Windows installer. It comes with CT mouse, a lightweight mouse driver from FreeDOS. S-disk again. We do not correct errors, as we want to delete all the partitions anyway. I will create a 4 GB partition for the OS and some programs, and the rest will be used for games, etc. Let the fun begin. This is not a really interesting installation, so let's skip it to the finish of the installation. Let's do some testing. Oh, CD key. Yep. What the hell? Okey-dokey. Oh, come on, really?
Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security
Nah,
and convenience
not what I
of the
expected.
Black Mesa Research Facility personnel. The time is 8:40.
I use some Raziel drivers.
Current topside
I should go with the official drivers first.
from level 3 dormitories to Sector C test labs and control facilities.
RX3D works fine.
The destination is a high security area beyond
Nice.
Sector C. You will need
Look what I found. An old update CD. Nice. Ah, the latest version with Half-Life comes with Ricochet. I tried again the OpenGL driver, the default driver, but it only gives me about 25 frames per second, which is really weak compared to the direct 3D mode. Something really weird. Direct 3D, here we go, 71 FPS. It's a VSync lock that limits it to 71. I'm now trying out the standard Voodoo 5 driver, the latest one, which is even a beta, and I also get the 71 FPS. The max FPS 200 doesn't unlock the frame rate, and I think that in the driver OpenGL has vertical sync disabled. So I will check this again, and yeah, I'm happy that this driver is better than the other one.